So we're good. I'm going to go ahead and call it to order. I'm going to have Counselor Henry lead us in the invocation.
Dear Lord, we're gathered here tonight to make the right decisions, have the right answers, and guide this town to a bright future. Please help us do this. In your name I pray. Amen.
And the first item of business is the adoption of the agenda, and I know we need to make some updates. All of them, so Stephanie, be ready. I know in old business, we're going to add in one item specific to recruitment and retention.
That is correct. We need to add an ordinance clarifying the recruitment and retention incentive.
Okay. And then for new business, we want to add in discussion on 420 West Main Street, specifically the water line replacement.
Correct. We have had significant breaks in one area, signifying a pattern of leakage in a aging transite system that needs to be addressed in a systematic way rather than piecemeal.
And then I know we have an audience here, which I'm quite excited about. As we discuss potential EDA members, we would like to consider moving the closed session up. So if those individuals would like to have their discussions and stay for the meeting, of course, would love to have you here. But in case they wanted to leave, is everyone okay with that? Moving the closed session up to just underneath of public comment and then adding appointments potentially underneath of that? Okay. And that's all the updates I had. Any other?
Yeah, I have this issue about this item we pulled out of last budget. What are we gonna do about that? Are we gonna discuss it or what?
Do you want that in a closed session?
It don't matter either way.
He's talking about an item was pulled from the bills last council, so it needs to be discussed. That's what he's asking about.
Yeah. We took the advice of the attorney and pulled it out of that.
Okay. Yes, please.
I prefer to be in closed session. We'll be in one here.
Adding just a second item for the closed session.
What would it fall under?
Yes, personnel issue.
Is that a good point?
Or,
No, this is not a complaint.
Personnel.
What is the closed session item? So we have to check.
These items that we pulled out under your advice on the last agenda, a bill. We pulled it out.
So this is the kind of water authority bill.
So we didn't pull it out. We
Pulled it out.
pulled it out and didn't approve it last.
Correct.
We didn't.
No, definitely no. I'm sorry. So what you guys did was it would be approved after the treasurer provided information to council, which I believe she did via email. Once you read the minutes.
That sounds like an open session.
Yeah.
As old business.
Yeah.
So adding in another old business for discussion of LCWA manual update bill. And can we flip new and old business so that we ensure that we get through the old business before we jump into new? You have a motion to approve?
Just clarification of everything that you just did. I just want to make sure I have it right. Did you summarize?
Absolutely. Sylvia, did you have anything that you wanted to add before?
No, I just wanted to clarify. So we are moving closed session directly after their public comment, and then we will go into old business, then new business.
Yes, and we'll add appointments in there as well. So we're gonna move closed session up to item 4. Appointments will then become item 5. And then split old and new business.
Adding an item.
Yeah, adding in
Two items.
2 items. The retention ordinance. LCWA manual, and then a new business adding the 420 West Main Street.
The Main Street thing, is that from you?
New business, yes. We have a motion to approve and adopt the agenda.
Move that we, well. Before, do we want to, just a question, we just got the bills this evening. Yeah, which is fine, I don't have a problem with that, but did we want to keep those in the consent agenda, or do we want to give people a chance to look at them first before they're approved in the consent agenda? That's my own question.
We're not approving the consent agenda right now. We're approving the adoption of just the agenda itself, correct?
I think she's asking, do we want to pull it out and have it as its
Pull it
own
out.
item? It's not part of the consent agenda.
Maybe you guys had time to review, or you have. I mean, if you have, then we don't need to. That's why I'm asking, because it just came out before the meeting. So we either need a motion to, if we need a motion to pull them out to discuss, then we need a motion to pull them out, but I don't, if we had time to look at them and have no questions, we don't need to.
Take out the consent agenda just to move along.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's one of the amendments to the agenda to be voting on right now.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and move it out. If there aren't any questions, we'll just approve it and move forward. We'll move it out.
No, we need to move to without agenda.
Yes.
So.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Ms. Hart, for Ms. Ritchie, for Mr. Henry,
Four.
Mr. Crawford, Mr. Purcell.
Motion passes. We're gonna move to. Do we want to move to the consent agenda and then the minutes after that, or the bills after that? Yeah. So next item is the consent agenda. We're only going to be discussing just the approval of the minutes for May, January, and June.
So I know the May ones are quite a bit old, but it does list me as absent, which I was, which means under new business item number 1, I was not the member who made a motion because I was not there. So I'm not sure who that was, but that does need to be corrected.
And these weren't recorded, you guys, so I don't. I
think we can probably, find some notes somewhere I just know it wasn't me
yeah,
because I wasn't there. But if we can get that cleared up, and then on the next page under new business item 3, I believe, Chief Nachman had to open vacancies and not vaccines that we can get that later fixed.
Stephanie, you said this was a meeting that was not recorded,
Right, the May meeting was before I got here, and I don't
Okay.
think we got this.
so it didn't contain the discussion regarding the purpose for the forensic audit. It just says a motion was made to hold one, it was approved.
Right, so these minutes were minutes that the previous that we first had, title that we found, so she was on to it and
Your staff just want to clarify, there's no,
If we want to hold on these, I know they're a year old, so, or not quite a year old, but
Yeah.
getting there. We may be able to also check with Alan Cremette because he was recording most of those at that time, so he might still have, I think he was keeping copies of those, so he could potentially help out with getting those clarifications.
and I have comments on January 20th, when we get to that one.
I think we're there.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, on page two, line item 21, 22, and 23. That is not what happened. I did not nominate myself for the position of vice mayor. And what I actually said was we did not implement the town bylaws. So why were we appointing a vice mayor separate from what the charter and the code said? That was what the comment was. Because if I had nominated myself, then it should have had a motion made to address that nomination, which obviously never occurred because that didn't happen.
Mayor.
Yep.
Also on the main minutes on the police, what's this chief stated the police station had new license plate cameras installed, that we could be security cameras for the police station. We did not have that technology back then.
You're on the main one, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just regular security cameras at the police station.
I think we agreed we're gonna move the May ones to a later.
But I'll.
Any additional comments on the January 20th meeting? Right, any on January 24th? There are no updates on that. Are we ready to move forward with approving those 2 dates of minutes with the hold on May 2025? As amended? There are motions for them?
Did we need two separate to hold the one, or can we just,
Just vote on the other two and take no action on the May.
move to approve the January 20th and January 24th meeting minutes as amended.
Any discussion?
Ms. Reed,
Four.
Mr. Henry,
Four.
Mr. Crawford,
Four.
Mr. Purcell,
Four.
Four. Okay. Do we move into the consideration of accounts and appropriations since we pulled that out? Are there any questions or discussion on that?
Let's get the clear money. The $1,500 for absolute plumbing. What was that for?
I'm sorry.
$1,500 for absolute plumbing and sewer. Who would that for? Okay, absolutely.
Any other questions?
Yes, Madam Mayor, this EMA $11,989.
That's on the agenda for tonight. I'll explain that.
Okay. DRF masonry and the other one down here. First cut, whatever it's called.
Is that snow removal?
That's snow removal,
Yeah, that's no.
emergency snow.
We'll get that. Let me, Madam Mayor, let me get this straight. So we got a discussion on this $11,989.60 for the amount. But we're fixing to vote to approve it without some discussion.
That needs to be moved to an agenda item. I would. It's included as an outstanding bill, but I was bringing that to your attention for discussion.
Now, we table the discussion for
On the
the,
appropriations until after.
yes.
Okay. You make a motion for that? I don't know. You don't need a motion for it, just table it. Jeff, we're going to just table this discussion until after the business and new business discussion.
The question is approving that, just remove that item. Well, you can approve, you can approve the ledger there for, accounts appropriations without that item, and then that item can be taken up.
Right.
When you have the discussion.
So we just need a motion to approve the appropriations less that line item. And
So we're removing the label.
yes. Any other questions? We have a motion to approve the appropriations, removing out that BML line item.
The motion to approve without that line item for being.
Any discussion?
Mr. Henry, Mr. Crawford,
Four.
Mr. Purcell, Howard, four, Ms. Ritchie, four.
All right, we're going to move to the next item, which is our public comment. This is an opportunity for you all, as our audience members, to address the council on any subject that is not in a public hearing. We actually don't have any public hearings today. So if anyone signed up, when called, we would just ask that you state your name, your address, and you're given 3 minutes to discuss your item. I'll try to give you a 15-second warning. Is there anybody that would like to address council? Okay, we're going to move to the next item, which is hopefully our closed session. Stand member to make a motion to move in.
Council would like to do it. That's. And I can read it. No one wants to. It's in the past.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we go into closed session in accordance with Virginia Code 2.2-3711 Alpha 1 of the Code of Virginia. Council convene in closed session to discuss personnel matters regarding consideration of candidates for appointment to the Economic Development Authority.
We have a second? Second. Any discussion?
Mr. Crawford,
Four.
Mr. Purcell,
Four.
Ms. Howard, or Ms. Ritchie,
Four.
Mr. Henry.
Four.
Yes, ma'am.
Four it was.
No warning.
All right, we are now going to reconvene in open session. At this time, we're going to certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements were discussed. And such public business matters as were identified in the motion to enter the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered. So moved. 30
Second.
Any discussion?
Ms. Howard,
Abstain.
Ms. Ritchie,
Four.
Mr. Henry,
Four.
Mr. Crawford,
Four.
Mr. Purcell.
Four.
Thank you. We appreciate y'all's patience. We'll move into the next item of the agenda, which we added in during the additions, which was appointments. Do we have any motions for appointments?
Let me make a motion to appoint Mulder and Melina, Matt Kersey, and Pam Coles to EDA.
Second. Is there any discussion?
Sorry, that was right. So it's Melina, Kersey, and who was the last person?
Pam Coles.
Ms. Ritchie,
Four.
Mr. Henry,
Four.
Mr. Crawford,
Four.
Mr. Purcell,
Four.
Ms. Howard.
Four. Okay. We're gonna move to the next item on the agenda. I know that we had switched old business. Did Anthony? Okay. Then we'll stick with where we're going. Old business, do we want to talk first about, I've written down the police recruitment, or do we want to go with the action item number 1 of the adoption of the bylaws? And discuss.
Let's go ahead with the police. Okay, so, all right. It actually had my notes up for the one, but since Mr. Larry left, so I'll take care of this. Okay, so. Okay, so subsequent to the approval at the last meeting of the pay bands for police recruitment to enable them to address the difficulty we're having in filling vacancies, which is a nationwide problem. We had a motion to address the pay band, to increase that, to allow more flexibility within that for recruitment. But the motion itself did not cover a key component of the recruitment incentive, which includes the recruitment incentive pay. And so we need to address that by ordinance to allow the recruitment incentive. Would you like to address that part of it we discussed?
The recruitment incentive, us presented to the three different committees, and then last month was for the amount of up to $10,000. And in my presentation, what was presented was, as we discussed, again, in those subcommittee meetings, was up to total of $10,000 for the recruitment. And half of it was to be paid at the completion of the officers' field training, and then the other half at the completion of 12 months of service. So that is what was my presentation, the three subcommittees in the last month. But like Mr. Terrell said, the motion ended up being just increasing the pay bands, leaving the rest of the proposal behind. So after speaking with Mr. Gore, Mr. Terrell and I were made aware that such adjustment would require the ordinance as you see in front of you.
So the staff recommendation is to adopt the ordinance to move forward with recruitment and retention incentives
That's
for
correct.
police officers. Okay.
I have a question. Have we had any applications?
We have a huge increase, like I presented to you last month and at the committee meetings. It was 2 to 3 months of silence since that adjustment, and we have advertised it with the adjusted pay band and with the sign-on bonus. Currently, in the past month, I guess, since we announced that, I am in possession of 5 applications at this point, and having discussion with approximately another 5 individuals at this point. On the those terms.
Then, these applications, the advertisement was for, with this phone.
It was. My proposal was as it was, but I guess it went unnoticed, that the motion was just for the pay bands in itself. Me sitting here and most of us in this room sitting here took it as the proposal was moved on. But then when you presented the motion, it was just for the pay bands and not for the sign-on bonus. As discussed in all the subcommittees and my presentation last month.
And asked if this, for some reason, doesn't get passed tonight, will we lose most of them?
I mean, it's hard to say. My proposal was to match our competition and bring us to where everyone else is. And that was my proposal. And all those numbers I presented factored all this in to include the adjustment to the sergeant salary within the pay band. All those numbers were reflective of my proposal in its entirety. So it's hard to say. I haven't discussed with, it's way too early. You know, some of these applicants already asked, where would I fall on the pay scale, with the salary, with the sign-on bonus, and I have not answered that question to a single applicant yet, because they got to do their application, and we just have to see what they're bringing to the table before I'll answer an individual question like that. Because there's no question some of these applicants, I mean, one applicant, yes, applied, but also applied to 7 other agencies. And, you know, another applicant applied to us and the sheriff's office. Another applicant I spoke with literally this afternoon said he applied everywhere in the area. He's a current police officer somewhere else, applied everywhere. So like I stated before, Mr. Turrell just stated that it is a competitive field that I feel like if we're not in the ballpark, I do believe my proposal as proposed does bring us, and the applications reflect that. We received some applications, but what probably helped us out quite a bit was actually the story that Central Virginia pushed out. Because that weekend alone, we just got kind of flooded.
But Martin, so we're trying to even the playing field with the market. For instance, what recruitment incentive does the county offer?
They do, their language is not up to $10,000. Their language is $10,000. For the recruitment board.
So that's our competition.
We are stating it, and I was not opposed to it at all when you brought up what if it's up to 10,000, depending on how bad our needs are, how viable the candidate is, what they bring to the table. As soon as you mentioned it, kind of made sense. So we're not committing ourselves to flat $10,000. And I was always in support of splitting it versus just giving it. Because there are sometimes difficulties in trying to recover that amount, even though I will speak with Mr. Gore and we'll come up with some sort of a contract for that, but sometimes there are difficulties trying to recover it, so splitting it is probably the wise way to go.
Are we eliminating a position for this?
As stated in my proposal, as written, if I came up with the number of, either for this fiscal year, there is no requirement of additional money because there is just so much savings in the vacancies that we've had. So for this fiscal year, everything can be done immediately and it will have no fiscal impact. The numbers that I presented to the subcommittees in last time were, if it is fully funded into the next fiscal year, it will require roughly $56,000 to fund those paybacks. If it's not possible to fund it, and we freeze half a position with the fringe benefit savings of freezing the half a position, the numbers I came up is $1,083. So cost neutral if we are forced to freeze half a position. Which of course I'll always be in favor of funding it if possible. But if it's not possible, I'd rather be able to provide services of 5.5 officers to the town than the current 2 that we have.
And for the purpose of this action item, it's really just getting the ordinance in place to be able to offer those recruitment incentives, understanding that at the budget, we would have to probably reevaluate if we're still in a position to do that, et cetera. But for right now, you have the funding available. We're just looking for it in this kind of moment of need.
Okay. And as we talked in the subcommittee meetings, for this year and within this fiscal year, right? Ideally, we would have those 4 officers here before July 1, because then the initial $5,000 cost would come still from this year's budget, which there's money to do that. Into the next fiscal year, if I was to hire 4 officers, if they were to max out, there would be a lingering $20,000 cost that is not included in these numbers into the next fiscal year. But then again, that would be in the, optimally, I would love to have the 5.5, 6 officers here for the entire fiscal year, but typically that is not how that works. So there's probably, most likely, there's gonna be that room for the $20,000. But it's really hard to say.
So right now, we're just talking about doing this for this fiscal year. Can we review it at time of budget?
The ordinance, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, would put it in place to give the latitude for it. He is exercising it right now, but it would have to be budgeted in next year if it continued into next year. It would be in place.
But we review it at that time.
Well, you wouldn't review the ordinance. You would just review if the budget is available for it.
That's correct. But by the time in the next 3 months, we should have a good idea if it's working.
Yeah.
The ordinance would, the way it's framed now, Madam Mayor, Councilman, is the ordinance, this potential for a up to $5,000 additional supplement and up to $5,000 after 1 year, the satisfactory reviews supplement this would authorize the manager in chief to do that for anyone who's hired this fiscal year. We not this town, this town. Obviously, they can't spend what they have, so money has to be in the budget, so to your question, Vice Mayor, yeah, that's gonna have to be looked at, look at the next fiscal year budget to make sure it's there. But you wouldn't have to adopt the ordinance again for anyone who's hired this calendar year. You could revisit it during your budget time and revisit it, next calendar year if you think it still needs to be in effect, re-adopt
It's calendar year or fiscal year.
calendar year.
Calendar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
It's in the- We just kind of. We got to be here, so you know what you.
So no.
So.
It is. It's in the spirit. Are there any motions on this or any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance as presented.
We have a second?
Sure.
Any discussion? We call roll.
Ms. Ritchie, 4, Mr. Hannah,
Four.
Mr. Crawford,
Four.
Mr. Priscilla,
Four.
Ms. Hart.
Motion passes. We'll move to the next item, which is the discussion and action on the adoption of the annual bylaws. They were discussed last month. Ms. Hart gave us some good edits. They're included, of course, will be cleaned up from a formatting perspective.
I think there. I think I had 2 more edits. That. I think I had, they were marked up, Jeff, but I don't think. You commented on them. But they were, we'll find it. I think it was in section 7.1. I think that's the one I asked you to look at. Yes, 7.1. This is under appointments. I have a issue with the last sentence. Except as otherwise provided by state law, all appointees to boards, authorities, and commissions may be removed with or without cause at the pleasure of the council and members of work groups. And yeah, this is actually saying 2 separate things. So that's one part. And then it says, and members of work groups, standing and special committees may be removed with or without cause at the pleasure of the mayor. My question is, why are we allowing to remove members of standing committees and special committees that are appointed by council?
Standing committees are appointed by me.
Well, let me rephrase that. Approved.
No.
When they appoint, we usually approve.
Well,
Yeah,
like
they-
standing committees under your current charter and code are only appointed by the mayor. So the mayor has the total authority to appoint committee members. That's the second clause. The first clause has to do with the other entities that council appoints members to. And many of those under state law have specific visions for how and when a member can be removed.
Okay, so that's my question. So it's
Yeah.
2 totally
Thanks,
separate
yeah.
things.
Exactly. It's confusing to put all in one sentence.
They're all in one
But it
sentence.
is
So
two
that's
different-
why.
It's 2 different scenarios. We're talking about 2 different types of. On the second clause, it's about the mayor appointments to standing or any council committees that the mayor.
So I guess my own question would be, do we want that all together in one sentence?
You could put, you just set it apart with a little I, like Romanet. One little I before all appointees to boards, and then after pleasure of council, a little 2I.
which is the next clause about mayor appointed committees, just to make clear that we're talking two different things. As
Yeah, that's the
understand.
question.
Yeah, I
If it
understand.
rolls all together.
It does kind of jumble together. I think that little syntax change will clarify that.
And I think that was it.
Any other questions or discussion?
I'll make the motion that we accept the bylaws as amended.
Any discussion? We call roll?
Mr. Henry,
Four.
Mr. Crawford,
Four.
Mr. Purcell,
Four.
Ms. Hart,
Four.
Ms. Ruthie.
Four. Motion passes. All right, we are moving along tonight. All right, so let's get into the next.
And I just want to make a point of clarification. There's significant changes in this. And everybody needs to understand that this states council is advisory in nature only and can make no committees are advisory in nature and can make no decisions without council from it. Which is for anything that comes up in committee. That's it. Thank you.
We're going to move to the next item, which is the fiscal year 26-27 budget discussion.
You know what, Madam Mayor, we have a consultant here. Would it be possible to move up the water main break? So he's been here a while. And Mr. Larry was so patient. They've been working so hard. I mean, running themselves to the ground to fix this stuff. And Mr. Larry, I appreciated him coming here. So if you don't mind, can we move?
Yeah, Jeff, is that okay for me to hop in phone? New business? Okay. So we'll go with first, the 420 West Main Street water line.
That's correct.
Okay.
We'll come up here, Ron. You know what, good that happened.
Thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
being here, Mr. Stottinger.
This is
Appreciate you, Ryan.
this is the contractor that works with the superintendent. They work hand in glove to solve all these issues that we're having. We're still in the post storm burn consequences. And what's happened with the solid freezing and the thaws, you see it's 60 degrees. We're having the weather environment is producing environmental impacts on the infrastructure. So Mr. Larry did a wonderful report while he was out there fixing it in the field. So I'm just going to go through him and I want to give him the credit. This is really well done. So he says, I'm providing an update regarding the ongoing water line failures and the corrective actions being implemented. This is in your supplemental packet. Public Works is installing an isolation valve in advance of replacing the affected section of the water main at 420 West Main. After reviewing the circumstances surrounding these failures, I have determined that the issue does not appear to be attributable to the contractor workmanship in the area. Based on field conditions, the most probable contributing factors are the age of the pipe, thermal expansion from recent temperature fluctuations, and the high level of ground saturation. Subsequently, I walked out there and saw the CSX trains roar by there. Every time they go by, the ground shakes like an earthquake. We had a conversation about the big trucks going to the data center that cause the pipes to vibrate. And then you said yourself said that the pipes are not straight anymore. They're in there crooked around. The old transite pipe goes back to 1960. Correct, or even before 1970.
So when all that was put in, I mean, probably before 1975, I would guess, but I'm not.
So there you go.
I'm not.
Old enough. So-
Do you remember?
I don't know exactly. I know the road was built in there around the forties, if I remember correctly. The infrastructure probably would have been done. I know it was done probably by the sixties based on the age of some of the homes in the area.
But anyway, let me just run through this. So, Public Works has completed two repairs on this line in the past 4 days. Right. Following the first repair, another blowout occurred approximately 2 days later. After the second repair was completed, a separate section of the line failed within 1 hour of the line being restored. So we got 3 breaks in one area, indicative of a pattern of a systemic failure. And you'll see on the map from CHA on the back, you can see one of these pages, you can see the cement line. It has one gate valve. It's on the last page. So as Mr. Larry says, the rapid succession of failures indicates systemic deterioration of the pipe rather than isolated point failure. The pattern suggests strongly that this section of the water main, likely transite pipe, which is confirmed by CHA, has significant age and has reached the end of its functional service life. So the plan of action is that we're out today at 9 a.m. That Worth Manor was notified of the interruption. Excavation occurred. Did you get in the isolated valves today?
No, sir.
Okay, so they got that in. The valve is closed and water restored as quickly as possible to minimize impact. We then look at the length of the line. You can see a map on the next page. It's roughly 500 feet of that old transite line, and between 400 and 600 linear feet. Mr. Larry recommends, rather than just piecemeal this thing and have it cascade, let's just get in there and do it. And he recommends, and I agree strongly, 3 blowouts within 4 days is a sign that this is a systemic problem. So the rationale for this approach, if approved, the continued blowouts demonstrate that additional spot repairs are no longer sustainable or fiscally responsible. Installing an isolation valve allows the town to sectionalize this portion of the distribution system, reducing the number of customers affected during future maintenance or emergency repairs. So this is an improvement already to the system because they can isolate it if this happens again. Replacing the most vulnerable segment, addresses the immediate risk while avoiding a full-time replacement until further assessment of additional failures would justify broader capital investment. I've already talked to Thrasher about reconverting the sidewalk design into a grant. I'm going to go back to VDOT and say, maybe we don't need to pay you the sidewalk reimbursement. We can repurpose it and then replace that whole area. But this is a way to address the immediate problem now. Okay. So the advantages are reduces the likelihood of continued short interval failures, limits service disruptions by enabling controlled isolation, decreases emergency labor. Calling these guys out at 2 a.m. is more expensive than just getting there. It's more cost economical to just do it. All right, so you can see the map. I'm sure the question will be, what's the cost to do the overall 600 feet? You estimate would be about 45,000, 50.
Granted, taking I've had the time to do a lot of figuring, but just thinking of how long I think it'll take and what we might run into, I guess it made our work to be that. But as always, the way we do everything with y'all, if it comes in at 30,000, then that's what my work comes in at. You save money, you're happy. I did the work, I'm happy, and the town, both of us benefit.
So can I ask a question?
I'm almost done. Can I just finish? And then, so the budget, we looked at that with the consultant and Ms. Francesca today. So where would this be paid? The percentage of expenses in the water fund is not that high. It's in your report. So we're well below 50%. believe that's your statistic. Um, in the water fund bank savings accounts, there's 419,000 sitting in there as we speak. There's no fund balance in the water fund that's budgeted that I can see. So no fund balance is obligated at this time. In the water fund, we're going on the 8th month of the year, and I think we're at 41% of expenses. This is being done manual calculation. We can adjust the line items if we use the water fund savings and then do a big mid-year adjustment. We can adjust the line items as part of a big mid-year adjustment, but this is, in my opinion, really under my authorization as emergency manager. This is really, in my opinion, the consequence of the storm that still hasn't been played out with. Okay, you can get rid of the snow, but the thawing, the shifting, combined with the heavy trucks, has caused the lines to fracture. And this is clearly a sign that it's a vulnerable area. So my recommendation is to support Mr. Larry's recommendation to get in there, put the isolation valve in, and then repair up between 400 and 600 feet of the transite line. Now, I did one final thing, Mr. Henry. I heard some concern about the adjacent projects damaging the line. I've included the email from Thrasher where they talk about, I could go over that if you want, that
No.
there's no tie-in to the system. So, and I also checked with CHA. Yeah, there's been no hydrant flushing. They were stopped from that by LCWA, and the water main replacement project has not flushed hydrants. They did at one point use some water out of the hydrant, but did not flush them. So that Mr. Sherrard doesn't think there was a Hammond effect. Okay, thank you.
The question I wanted to ask was, what cost it be about 50? Then we have material cost on top of that.
Yeah, he's already got, Anthony already had ordered and it's delivered this morning. They delivered the valve that we put in. They've delivered 600 feet of pipe and we've got 3 loads of stone to get started on already out there.
Okay.
So,
But that's it. That's all we've done.
Yeah.
I didn't, said don't move forward until we get more, approval.
I'm just,
and our thought, Mr. Henry, is what we're thinking is, and this may change a few things when we get out there, but we did the repair on the upper end towards Countryside. Okay, and we pulled out, and this, just so you guys are aware, I don't know how many of you are aware of what happened on West Street when we did a pile of repairs. What we saw on West Street was we saw a lot of blowouts at the couplings because this asbestos pipe has couplings. This is completely different. What we're seeing over here, it looks like you took a saw. It looked like you took a saw and just either cut it from the top down or the bottom up. And doing some research and everything, it's kind of saying this is known for based on age of asbestos pipe. Yeah. It's been in over the age. It says it's a sign of these types of splits or that pipe has reached its longevity being in the ground with freezing, thawing, moving, and those types of things. So
the words you just said, asbestos, we're getting rid of asbestos pipe.
yeah. Well, see, that's, and our other thing is when you're talking about the cost, that's our work. And what we're thinking of doing, if we dig right where the old line is, so far today we put a valve, and what we put the valve was down near Sylvia's house.
Yeah.
Where the line goes up the hill to original section of Epworth Manor. We put the valve just on Countryside side of the valve where the line goes up, so we can turn off the line from there up to the valve that we have cutting off at Weimer's to give us that whole section and still be able to feed Epworth Manor. So during the repair, the only person that will be out as of now would be Weimer's, because Billy Hart's businesses are not not in effect.
Right.
And they're okay with, as long as the town can continue to give them bottled water and some stuff that the girl can flush her toilet because she's pregnant. The guys were like, we don't have a problem with that. We'll make sure, we'll make sure it's full. But my recommendation, and you guys can decide, but Anthony and I discussed this and we both agree that it's like with last night. He decided not to repair it because he said, we've exhausted the materials we have in stock. If we do try to put a repair on it, and as soon as we turn the water on, if it blows again, we're back in the same boat. So basically, we're just throwing money away. So and we kind of got together and we thought we'll put the valve all the way down there. That gives us as much of that section as we can to whatever you guys decide you want to do now versus let's do this much now, but let's do and see how it goes. And then if we need to, we'll extend and go further down, at a later date. But at least we would at least like to recommend the 400 feet just because the 400 feet would get us from where it's broken. We've made our last connection near that fire hydrant would get us all the way across those entrances down into the grass area next to where Billy Hart used to do his vehicle truck inspections. So it would get us out of that parking area where you have traffic coming in and out. So we would be in the grass area at 400 feet to where if you guys said, look, let's do 400, we'll see how that goes. At least we'll have the high traffic area where you got trucks. And
So what's your price based on 4 or 6?
600 was what roughly the 600 feet was what I just quickly guesstimated, but I haven't had much time. I just was thinking, okay, if we could do this much in a day, not sure what we're going to run into. But one thing we are kicking around and we very possibly can do to try to save you guys money. There's the sewer and the water line are really close.
Mm-hmm.
So we were thinking if we could maybe step back with a couple 45s and get over, maybe we could eliminate pulling the old pipe out of the ground. And if we could step back, we'd go down and if you said we want to do 600 feet or 400, we could try to step back over and tie back into what's there for now, but that may eliminate the cost of having to have so many asbestos cuts and having them up here to get rid of the pipe and do all that stuff. So
I'm for this, don't get me wrong. But I just in here you got 45 to 50, and I'm just thinking there's a material cost. I heard him say it was
the materials would be extra.
his cost and materials.
I thought we bought the material.
Yeah, I did, but he's thinking of you're talking about with the whole thing, like, out the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm thinking his cost is going for his labor and
I may come in at 30.
yeah.
If everything goes smooth and we don't have to deal with old piping, it'd be like, well, we treat you like we always do. If you save money, y'all are happy.
I just don't want it to come in at $75,000 and we're thinking 40 to 50 and have a heart attack.
Yeah.
We could put
I'd rather see it say
But
7.
and what we can do is if we run into a problem, like I know there's some concrete up there and stuff like that, that if we try to step it back some, we'd have to do some saw cutting and get some of that out of there. If you guys said, look, we'll authorize you on your end, Ryan, to do X number of dollars worth of work, every day I keep track. So at the end of the day, I know basically we've got $26,328 of my work in this project. And if when we get close, we'll just say, look, this is where we are. We didn't quite make it where we want. You guys let us know quickly.
Yeah, you could set a not to exceed amount, and then when they hit that, they just tell you where they're at.
I think you just need to recognize that this cost here, what we have in this price, which you clearly stated, and so I apologize. Is that this is essentially the contractor cost. On top of that, we still have our staff costs and so we need to recognize that there's an additional, 15, 20, whatever that number is, thousand on top of this 45 to 50,000 here, which covers the contractor cost, just so that you understand what our total is from that standpoint. My only concern that I would bring up regarding moving the pipe over is we need to double check our right of ways and make sure that we're within those right of ways before we start moving the pipe over. Because I know they kind of go in and out a little bit along that. I know we knew.
Typically, I'm thinking the power poles, we normally figure is usually the power poles are usually set either just inside or just behind the right. So if we can stay in front of them power poles, if we do need to shift it over. Well, we don't need to shift it over a lot because the sewer line, I think, is pretty deep through there just from pulling those lids. So if we can shift over enough, we're thinking we'd be probably 42 inches deep to have 3 foot of cover on a 6-inch pipe. So we won't be but so deep in the ground. We don't need to move over, but so, so much. So, but I do agree with that. That was one thing we looked at. And looking at the power poles, we were thinking, okay, as long as we can stay in front of those power poles a decent little amount, we'll probably be okay.
The Thrasher drawings that we have of that sidewalk project may give us a good indication of what that is as well, because we looked at that set.
So one line might be in one of those plans up there where they plan on putting it, you might be able to pull.
Yeah, that would be good.
You do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys have something that we might be able to visually look at pretty ASAP and just say, okay, we want to do this, go to this area. It looks like these power poles are, we use these kind of as our line. If we stay to the roadside of them, we're good or
Yeah, because
whatever.
we had that, I know it's one set of those plans had notation of where they thought they would need to get additional right of way for us to do that project. And I know that project was much larger scope, so
Okay.
we might still be within that, but I think that might give us an idea of from that standpoint, as far as where those right of ways
I
go.
agree.
My other concern is I'm looking at this, I don't know, this to scale, it's kind of hard to see the drawing, like where the roads are on here in comparison to where these lines are. It does look like at some point this 6-inch line becomes an 8-inch line. Is that within your area that you guys are looking to?
According to where we've dug now, of course, we dug on that upper end and I didn't take a tape measure and measure, but there's a hydrant there. We probably are we probably made our last connection when we did that repair, at least 10, 15 feet probably away from that hydrant there. And according to talking with Brad Humphrey, the other day, just to try to find out if he knew what valves and what section where we would have to go to cut off. He did mention that somewhere, and he says it's somewhere after that hydrant towards Countryside, and it does switch to an 8-inch, but he's not 100%.
Well, that's this map, the last page map you're referencing is from CHA's mapping.
Right, which should be fairly recent. I'm not sure. I understand the map that, that's here in front of, that goes across it from Weimer that I guess Anthony kind of put together here. I haven't seen that. It's like from Google or something where it shows the distances there. I'm not sure where the 6-inch line, do you know where that 6-inch line cuts off? Does that go with that feeding? I'm assuming this one is the one for Epworth. And I'm not sure what this one is unless it's community mode. I don't know what that other 6-inch goes to. Because this over here is where it comes up. This has got to be where it crosses the car wash.
That is.
It comes up Camac and then goes to phase 2.
Mhm.
This would be the line that goes to phase 1.
Mhm.
I don't know what this one is, but that's where that's 6-inch.
And this is CHA's map. It's a 6-inch line. Is that a gate valve there? Right there, there's a gate valve there. It comes to 6 and then it cuts down here and it's ductile iron. And then it becomes an 8. That's the CHA. There starts at.
Well, if this is 420, this is back towards the car.
Right. It becomes 8.
It looks like there's another 6-inch that comes off of there, and after that it comes to 8, somewhere potentially in your. But I don't know, because you guys put a gate valve right down here by where Epworth comes
Just to
off.
the left of your driveway. If you're coming out of your driveway, to the left there's a manhole, and then to the left of that there was a valve, and that valve that was existing there is the line that goes to original phase of Epworth Manor. So we stayed just on the left of that valve and put our new valve today so that they'll still be live. That's a 6. It's my understanding that 6 comes up Camet.
Yeah.
6 turns at Kamek and 6 comes down. I'm almost positive the line that comes down the side of the car wash is a 6, because I remember being out there when Brad was here one night and we dug it up, and I think that's a 6. Yeah, that's where all the fill is, or where they hit it with the Dominion, hit it drilling when they were going to do that power flow that time. But it's an 8. It's my understanding all that is 6, and when they redo that, they're doing a 6. And it's 6 all the way up in front of your house, all the way up to somewhere on the other side of the fire hydrant. towards Countryside. All that is supposedly 6, and the only 8 in that area that I know of is South Street. South Street, I know for a fact is an 8 because we did the taps when Liberty Home built the house on the corner. We did the water tap, and that's 8-inch C900, and it comes down and then it turns across Kamek right at the back of the car wash property, and I think it connects back to the 6 there. That's why I wondered if with that being an 8, why is everything else they're putting in over there a 6?
That's fine.
Kind of
Based
confusing.
on this, it says all that section there where it goes through the car wash and goes back to Main Street is an 8 and not a 6 based on this map.
If I remember, if my understanding, if I remember right, and on that one, when we did that repair that night, when Brad was still here, I think that's been a long time ago. I think I'm almost positive that's a 6. I know it's a 6 where the valve was today. And I know Kamek is a 6.
I was just trying to make sure we had the right type if we're looking at doing this.
Right. We don't want to put an 8 in the middle of 2 6s.
Right, or yeah, because this was confusing me and I don't know if this is,
We'll finally check we need them from them until they get our backs.
yeah.
And we check upstairs too. I think they had it as a 6.
I think they had the whole thing running through there as a 6, but with the new, so I think we should be good as long as we're not, blowing it up and.
Yeah.
Let's just double
Bring it back
check,
down.
double check and see why they're saying it's 8 here.
Yeah, and I don't understand. And a lot of times too, when we do the valves, we can turn the valve key. And if you turn it, when you turn it on to off, you count the turns. It gives you a pretty good it can give you a pretty good there's like a little formula that number of turns times something plus 1 or 2 or something tells you what you can say, okay, I know this isn't a 6, this has got to be an 8, so on and so forth.
So you're, I guess it's Anthony's map, he's drawn from 0 to 501 feet. Is that from valve to valve?
No,
That's just,
we decided this morning, if you start at the fire hydrant and you wheel down 400 feet was where I marked. I kicked the spot yesterday, and that's in the grass below the car wash entrance of Billy Hart's. When you get to the grass right there, it's in the grass area right there. We decided to put the valve so far down because when we got to talking this morning, I said, what do you think, Anthony, if we put it down here? And he said, I agree with that idea because as long as we can leave Epworth Manor live, that gives us plenty of distance. So if you guys said, hey, let's just put 400 feet in. If we put 400 feet in and you go and then you have 1 or 2 breaks below where we've already got the valve in that we can go back, dig down where we stopped with the new pipe and extend down to the valve further and still only have that one business that's operational at the moment out for.
order if you get it from the hydrant you're referencing above wires.
Right there.
All the way past through all the asphalt
It gets you-
concrete and gets into the grass.
Yeah, pretty good.
And then it's probably another 400 feet to the valve.
I think so. I think it was when I called my ticket in this morning from the old dance studio. I think it was like 900 feet, 900 and something feet or 1,000 feet, all the way up to Jay Miller's eastern property line. So you're probably close in the 800 feet or something.
Okay. And if you more fan of leaving the existing line in the ground, so going around, if we have the right of way, does that give us enough space between the sewer and the water line to be all helpful?
I got this 7 feet. It kind of determine where the right of way is, how far you wanted to stay. We need to stay away from it, So, I mean, right now it's pretty close. Where it blew out last night, I probed it today, and the manhole lid is right there, and the water line, I'm hitting it in the ditch. So they either, and I don't know, did they bow the pipe? Because where we fixed it the other day, it's kind of going on an angle. Like if you stood at the fire hydrant and looked at the line, it was almost like the line was going to go through the back road corner of Billy Hart's truck inspection thing. But then when we went a little further, it kind of started to come back. But I don't know, did they start bowing their joints to get around that manhole that's there where it blew out yesterday evening and then come back towards the road? Because where we put the valve in, we were right on the edge of the pavement today.
You're saying that the old line is probably 800 feet long, or?
I'm sure the old line, I'm sure probably goes all the way down. It goes probably all the way down to the car wash and then goes up the side back to Kamek. All that's, I'm sure it's asbestos.
Yeah, all of this is probably. This is probably, this section here is part of that current water project, is that right? Yeah, this little section here, but all of this is not.
Right.
So this will be replaced with the current project we have going on, is probably one of the last.
Well, it's close. Trying to wrap my head, why are we only talking about if there's 900 feet, 1,000 feet, or whatever?
I think Anthony was just trying to limit the cost to do a section, and hopefully this section works, because right now, which kind of brings up another thing that I had looked over and I had talked with Anthony and Stuart about when stock starts doing their tie-ins, like to get with somebody that we can put our heads together, and when they do these tie-ins, from looking at the plans, I think they need to put more valves in to isolate more areas, because part of our problem is, like today and what we're cutting off, we had to go all the way down South Street, almost to McDonald Street, to find the last valve to shut the water off on where we're working at now.
Yeah.
So we have three valves we had to cut off. We had to cut Kamek off coming in. And I don't know why, when they ran the new 8-inch line, C900, the PVC line on South Street, when they tied in at the back of the car wash, why they didn't put a valve on that line before they tied into the 6-inch going beside the car wash. I have no idea why they didn't put a valve in there. But, part of the goal is, if we think about these things that we do as doing the repairs, meaning you guys and then customers being out, valves cost more money up front, but once they're in, we can isolate areas to where we limit the number of people that are out of water, and the number of situations where there are old pipe and we turn the water back on to lessen the chance of an old pipe having an issue from pressure being down and then pressure coming back on.
So actually, we're just really still putting a Band-Aid on fixing a part of it, just this part right down below it could actually start.
Right. I mean, there's no say that if we don't take it all out, that you won't have a problem somewhere else. I mean, and we don't know to the left, and we don't know to the left from where the hydrant is at Weimer's. If we start on this side of the hydrant, we don't know how far asbestos goes that way. I mean, the only thing we could do would be do some test digging. We could call in a ticket and test dig and say, let's find the water line in the grass here somewhere and see what type and what size it is.
The way I discussed it with Rasher, who was involved with the sidewalk project, is they're very much aware of that line needing replacement as part of that VDOT grant. I've talked to him to help us find a grant to do the whole area. So this is more to stop the bleeding with the recurring consequential blowouts, to buy us more time to get a long-term solution. I mean, the other thing is we could just patch it and see if it blows again, and then we'd be right back in the. So.
But this,
Yeah.
just to, I thought what Roger's saying, if there's 900 feet of line, and we're fixing 600, and the other 300 is the same stuff. You're saying that you're getting a grant for fixing the remaining 300? Is there a reason we don't just throw?
Replace the whole thing now?
Yeah, because there's more than this pipe. There's more than this one pipe.
It's an interesting question if you want to just roll it on and forget about the grant option. I'm going with Mr. Larry's recommendation.
And I can ask a question, where it stops. Not that this isn't intrusive, but it seems to be less kind of laborious on getting to these pipes than kind of moving forward towards Kamek. You're looking at, parking lots, asphalt.
Yeah, we're in like tar and chip, kind of some asphalt now. I mean, y'all have all been to Billy Hart
Yeah.
and that. You see, it's kind of, it's not gravel. So it is kind of, you know, some of it might be a little concrete depending on where that right of way is, but some of a lot of it's like old tar and chip asphalt and asphalt that's busting up. You know, and then we get into that grass area where we're in the grass. And you know, of course, grass is easier to restore than if you had to do any paving. You know.
So I guess we're just prioritizing this. This is the high risk. If you want to go down for medium or low risk, go fine.
May I speak? There's no doubt in my mind that something's gotta be done, and I have no problem with that. What's gotta be done, what I wanna know is, Mr. Terrell, how much is it gonna cost? Oh. Towns, employees, and the fine contractors that we have, and town employees, I wanna know how much it's gonna cost total. Something's gotta be done. And we can sit here and hash this all out long, but we won't get the water line fixed. What it's gonna cost total, and where are you gonna get the money?
But this is building this as we fly in the last 2 days. I haven't been able to get into that question. I need more time to figure out how many hours a week it would be, whether there's overtime. This is the best I could do with one day. So I can get you that information, but meanwhile,
Well, I mean, how are we gonna approve this? If we, I mean, one thing we're gonna approve is it's gotta be done, but we don't, I mean, what are we gonna do, y'all? I mean, we got to know things. I know this is an emergency. Don't get me wrong. I understand. And something's gotta be done. Do we give them the approval to go ahead and start on it and put a cap on it? 1,000, 50,000? What do you think, John?
There's a couple questions. We're gonna get back to a couple different people. One is when you look at sour project plans, make sure we're in the right of way to have. Ultimately, it's going to be cheap to abandon that line and just move it out, but we need to know that answer first. Two is the 6-inch line that's coming off straight on CHA, which at least from this map, I can't picture where it goes. We need to figure out, make sure that's 400 feet, 600 feet doesn't cross that line, and if we don't anticipate we're sat on really find one, we need to know that ahead of time.
You mean it's out for like a tap?
Yeah.
So there's another 6-inch line on the wall that's shown there.
That's a 6-inch line off of.
So this for a second, this 6-inch should be the one that goes to KMAC because this is
Yeah, so basically,
this is the KMAC phase 2 back here. This is where the car wash would be coming here,
Okay.
right? And down. So this should be the 6-inch that goes to KMAC phase 1 where you put a valve in here today, supposedly, right?
okay, yeah, what would this one, what would?
That's what we don't know. Because up here is where your other valve goes then, because there's Weimer's there.
Right.
So
Right.
there's your valve that you already had, right? But if we're coming down here, you put a new valve.
What is this line?
That goes to KMAC phase 2 in the back.
That's the one that goes below Donna Cole. Is that below Donna Cole's or something? Phase 2.
From what I understand, phase 1 comes up from Main Street, that phase 2, then they do.
Man of the bottom section. This is South Street.
This is
The red is South.
The
Street.
red is
Okay,
south.
this would be coming about the car wash.
Car wash.
I'm in front of
This
your house.
comes up in front of that, where those 2 new houses are, then comes back towards the phase 2 of KMAC, which was those condos or whatever they call them back there.
Okay.
Townhouse, yeah, I think they're, those back there, where the main KMAC up here,
I
the
got you.
original goes
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
We don't, what's this?
I-
Does that go to Billy Hart's is the only thing in there? But I don't know if he goes in and splits out because it was planned for something later and we don't know what that is.
Then put that countryside.
It's,
No, Countryside comes in off the main road and goes around and then comes up by Tires Unlimited and comes in too. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question on that. Who did this right here? That's a CHA. What are they getting it off of? Like a old set of plans or a map or something you guys have?
They pulled older maps, pulled that together. They went out and marked GPS the valves, manhole. They did for water and a sewer mapping. So
Okay, so this one, they're not showing a valve. They're not showing any valve on this one at all.
not the show here notes. There's no valve there. I just don't know what that line is.
Yeah, I just don't know what that goes to.
I just feel like there's two different questions we gotta answer before we approve any amounts. I think it could change a lot. You have to,
Yeah.
I don't know, line it, find out when you amend the line.
But if this is 420 and it's that, I mean, that's gonna be kind of near the end of Billy Hart's. That's gonna be right there near.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where, that would basically be between Weimer's and Billy's
It would either be
Billy's upper
between.
building, or between Billy's two
between
buildings.
buildings, and it could be between Billy's two buildings, or it could be at the edge of Billy's building before you get to that field. To that grass area.
And see, they don't even show the valve, they don't even show the valve right here. That would go that way.
But I think we're getting a little in the weeds maybe, but I think.
Yeah, I don't,
I get the reasoning behind it, but right now, I just, we need to ask this couple bigger questions to make sure that we're legally in the right with the right of way. Two, and that will change our design if we can't do it that way. And it will also reduce our cost to pull that asbestos pipe.
yeah, I mean, if, you know, and I don't know if we'd ever know what's all in the ground until you start digging. If you start digging and you come across it, your thing is, okay, this is here. Do we need to tie it back in? Is somebody off of this section? Do we need to put a T in here and tie it back in? Or is this a dead old line?
Yeah, we don't, I think we need to determine that, but I think the issue is where can we get an update on where we are now? So I know there was the third break. The third break has not been fixed at this point, correct? Today's work was
right, we did.
focused on
We've done
isolating a valve.
two
so that we
repairs
could-
in the isolated valve. I think you're at right at $7,000 from me.
And so right now, starting tomorrow, we have, with it isolated where that break is, we have one business that has no water. And no other customers affected currently.
Just moving on to other buildings, which are
Billy
nobody's in there right now.
currently vacant.
Yeah,
And
and I know Les was there today and Hank talked to Les and he was okay with us stockpiling the gravel where we have it and those types of things. You know, he just asked us with the weather. He said, I know if y'all do it, y'all will treat it right for us. So just take care of our place for us.
Yes, that's the issue. So right now, here we are, we have one business that has no water because we don't have a conduit. There's obviously some things that need to be determined if we want to proceed with a larger scope versus the concerns that if we just try and repair the third break, that we may be creating a fourth break or a fifth break or a sixth break, which is why we're long. So I know we have some things to figure out, but I'm afraid if we're either going to have another meeting to make a decision once we get these answers, or we need to be comfortable with starting up to a certain amount to get us started and putting a cap on it and seeing where we go from there. And then adjusting if we need to, hopefully at a next meeting versus at a.
And I don't know how we will find that other line you're talking about. It's not like there's tracer wire on it. So the only way we're gonna find that line is if we start digging. Right, that's the only way. I mean, there's no way, we can't put a camera in, you can trace the camera, there's no tracer wire, you know, I mean, the only thing I can do is take my metal locator and walk along through where we think the line is and see if I get a signal and happen to dig down and find it's a valve box there. Or something like that. I mean, you know, that's.
You don't put a tracer wire in here.
Typically we do. Yeah, but you typically run a tracer wire and bring it up at the valve or something on each end so you can get to it and at least mark the section that we're putting in.
Why don't we set a limit?
And just so you know, our plan was we probably are going to start on that end, up near the fire hydrant. So if that line is there, we should find it in the first few days if we're going through there. So
Set a limit of a certain amount, want to go over it.
Yeah. And go with that and do the whatever planning, whatever we gotta do and get, go with it. We gotta water that.
and like I said, I keep a daily thing. So I pretty much will know if you guys set a limit and we run into that line that they're talking about and we have to buy some extra fittings and tie that line back in, you know, and we know what the amount, and I start getting close, I can let Anthony and Stuart know and say, hey, look, we're within 10 grand of what the limit was or whatever. Here's where we are. You know, can we get some kind of meeting where we can get everybody together quick to come out and say, okay, when you get the limit, stop right there. We'll be okay with that. Or, you know, when you get the limit, let us know and how much more we need to get into the grass, whatever. As long as we can get quick communication and I can keep working or finish what I'm doing, if that's where y'all want to stop, I'm cool with that. That's fine too.
No problems. Next scheduled meeting is, what week in March? Wow,
It's the third meeting. It's,
wow.
So they needed to call the special meeting.
I mean, it's certainly called a special meeting, but if need be.
Awesome, right.
Yeah, and I think with that, the
Which we will get.
Stuart, do you have an estimate of how much you've spent so far and what, Anthony has purchased?
The 9,000. And then his building over 6,000, so it's 15,000.
15.
Yeah.
So that would be less than 75,000 on parts and the proposed contract for, that he's talking.
And I don't know what the asbestos guy charges you guys. I don't know anything about him. He's been there. So his number, I can't tell you, but you know, I can kind of give you an idea on me, material, what Anthony's got and in the thing. You probably, let's see.
You know, what we're talking about isn't what's already occurred. For the past.
All I've done is,
It's still. The price of that.
right, all you've done today is put in the isolation valve.
Yep, we've got the valve in, so that whole section is currently off. There's no water between the valve we put in today and the valve there on countryside side of the hydrant at Wipers. That section is off. There's no waters on there.
So we're not losing water right now.
No.
So
We do have businesses, we have a business that's
that
affected.
doesn't help. So, but we're only talking right now about the cost to replace the pipe that we're talking about, not what they've done up to date, correct?
Correct. It'll be another 50,000.
Yeah.
Beyond what.
And like I said, I'm just guessing. I'm not sure how fast this is gonna go because we're not 100% sure. Can we move it over? If we can look at something and somebody can say, and we can get a good idea that, I mean, we were planning on being out there tomorrow and getting started on the upper end, but if we have to wait a day, if we can somehow tomorrow figure out that we think they're power pole, as long as we stay in front of them, we're good. We can kind of get an idea. If I need to get a couple more fittings, some more fittings to move it over, then I agree with that. We get a plan of attack on what we think and then what we run into. If we run into this other line that might be there, we won't know until we get it.
So do the residents, are they out of water now for a little bit?
Everybody should be back on, but the one business.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so yeah, you should be.
to run the new pipe, do whatever figuring we have to do. If we say whole cost, which is our men, his men, our.
And we can do a lot of it without your guys. I mean, once I get started laying pipe, if I can move over, I may need one guy every now and then for something or need to call or whatever, but I mean, we're working in a tight area. So, I mean, we kind of know how to do our thing and what each one of us is doing to be able to do it. So if your guys got other things they need to do or whatever, then that's totally fine and keeps y'all's business going on your end. And if I need a hand with somebody for an hour or 2 hours, I can call Anthony and say, hey, can you send somebody up here, for an hour or something to give me a hand, whatever,
So, got $9,000 in material, you're saying. $50,000 there. If we figure $10,000 for Anthony and his men, additional cost. We're looking, let's say $75,000 to $80,000.
That's what I'm looking at. And we can put a cap to say 75,000. If it exceeds, then we come back and reevaluate.
That's
And I'm hoping since we've already cut on that upper end, if I put a valve, if I can put me a valve where we've already connected the other day, if I don't go all the way to that hydrant, if I can connect there and put me a valve there, and we can shift it over, he's already cut that section of pipe out. So we may not need him to come back if we got room to shift it over and get it over and leave that pipe in the ground as we go. We may not need him to come back for any additional costs,
But we don't know that.
but we're not 100% sure until we know.
Would you say 75 or does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do whatever you guys want. Like I said, I'll keep track of it by the day. If we run into some line that's unexpected and we have to tie it back in, if I know you guys say, look, this is the total, we can kind of back out, Anthony and I can kind of back out what materials were, such and such, then I know, okay, I got 43,625 is what is allowed for me. I'll keep my track every day, and when I start getting close, we'll get with Stuart. If we need to call a special meeting and say, hey, we're here, we ran into these problems, this is where we are, can y'all make a decision? Do you want me to stop here, or do you want me to keep going?
So there's contractor costs and then total costs. And you're correct, there's labor. I'd have to check to see if that involves overtime. May not, it may just be straight pay, in which case they'd be on the clock anyway. So what we're really talking about is additional overtime. I'd have to see, I don't have that number. If you did a not to exceed total cost, that's different from a not to exceed contractor costs. So what is your estimate? 50,000?
I mean, I'm guessing, I could be, like I said, it could be whatever. It all depends on what I run into. I mean,
Okay, so
if we run into that line, it's more time consuming for me because then I got to go get fittings, got to hook back.
So he gave me original in the field estimate of about 50,000. So if you how about we give you 50,000 now to start? Then I could get the OP costs. I don't think it'd be that much more.
Well, I think the other costs that were including the help.
You're only going to work
What you had already spent.
8 hours a day.
Oh, you want
That's typically all we're going to do.
Yeah.
And if I
but we're
need to,
including the-
if I find Weimer service line, if I need to put a valve or put another valve in and get them back going with water so that they can be fed from countryside. If y'all say, look, when you find their service line, after you do your tap, get as far away from the tap and hook them back up as you need, put another valve, open it up. If you can open it up to get them back going with water, I know Anthony will have to do a back T sample, but I mean, I'm easy to work with. I understand, I want to do what's best for y'all, and it is what it is.
I just think the cost to this point were what they just did to go out like they would any water. So that's a sunk cost. We're starting here with a proposal. Once we stop the bleeding and moving forward, from here today, how much do you want to commit? That's the cleanest way.
That's what we're saying, 75.
That's should be fine.
Total.
And are you including?
Total. So that's probably about 50 for me. And like I said, if it goes good, I may be down in the grass past 400 feet.
Okay.
And be able to go if we don't run into anything else.
So let's move on. So the 75, to be clear, would include contractor, town supplies, and town labor. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Town contractor, town labor. and
So
whatever.
overtime labor as needed, because regular labor is already built into the budget. so
Correct.
We don't have to add.
So
additional-
it's just OT.
Right.
Town overtime labor,
And typically we work 8 hours. We work 8.5 hours.
right, and supplies, and not to exceed 75,000.
Yeah.
Are we good?
He needs them.
We need to just do our home for tomorrow. We already have all the shovel ready plans for that sidewalk project. That's gonna tell you.
Do you don't have any time tomorrow to get together? Do you work all day too? So
The Thrasher. Awesome.
Thrasher has them. There should be a set of plans up in the year office. I don't know what.
Come by and we'll call.
Then there might be some in here too.
I might can work from home tomorrow if needed.
I mean, if anybody can get with me and we can look at them plans, we can go ahead. I mean, and then we can do the legwork tomorrow so we can get operate, see what we gotta do so we can try to get moving, get them waters,
So
back on. But I agree, I don't want to get out of that right.
We talked to Eric about that, he had the plans, he probably send you set up plans real quick. And we also talked to CHA and see what that line is, because I don't recall. we do both of those things, that should also clear up the right of way. And then we can get the best idea of what we might do. So it should only take a day maybe to hopefully sort some things out. With that, back to the 75, is you saying you're gonna pull it from the from bank savings. Is that 419, is that including the offer funds that were in that?
That's the cash account from the bank.
Okay.
That's the cash.
Should be pulling it essentially from waterfront reserve.
I just want to make sure that I was understanding that correctly and make sure the offer wasn't. Well, that's it. All right.
No offer. But,
Okay.
so what, I need a clear motion. When can we, boys, or got the boat ready?
I would like to make a motion to authorize the replacement of the 600 feet of piping with a total cost expenditure of up to 75,000. And with any unexpected issues to come back to you, and then you can determine whether or not we need to take additional action. That makes sense. So the motion is just for up to 75,000.
600 feet of pipe, up to, because he may.
Yeah,
I think
but
I
you only
said
get
600.
400 and 300.
Yeah, 600, but I'm saying up to.
Oh, up to 600, yeah.
But
There's a make a water alarm. I actually gotta take this little.
do you think you could be around tomorrow?
Yeah.
I want to be stated that.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the piping replacement for up to 600 feet with a total cost of 75,000. Up to 75,000. Okay.
We have a second.
Second. Good. Did I do right?
Discussion. So that's just up to 600 feet. So just to clarify, your motion, as previously stated, also had some caveats about unexpected things. As long as the unexpected things within that, we're not going to worry about that. It's going to get to this cap only. Okay. So the
That's
restatement,
why
I
told
think
me
it's
to
fine.
do it, but yeah, they'll know it, they'll know that.
Simply up to 600 feet of pipe. Replace up to 600 feet of pipe with it up to a total cost of 75,000.
Oh,
Total cost being contractor costs, town labor and supplies.
Down overtime, like.
Overtime, yeah, sure, yeah.
I'm gonna have a second motion to appropriate these funds out of reserve. So they're not in the budget. We'll do that. Add that to the motion, to appropriate it from that section.
I amend my motion.
Friendly amendment and to appropriate.
To appropriate the funds from the, which one we want, the water.
Reserves.
The water.
Who's the water render? I think
It's a water fund, it's in the water fund.
So the motion was amended by there's a second agree.
The amendment is what now? To appropriate the funds from,
To appropriate the funds from the water. Correct me if I'm wrong. To appropriate the funds from the water fund reserves. To replace up to 600.
You got that. Just wanted to have the name of the fund correct. Yeah. Thanks. You guys got it.
Okay, are we ready for roll call? Okay, Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Mr. Purcell. Ms. Harder. For. Mr. Ford. Mr. Hickman.
So I had to step out to handle water, a tank alert. So I just want to be clear. So tomorrow I can tell these guys, you are good to go up to 600 feet in this vulnerable area. Not to exceed 75,000 our get cost. And appropriate the money out of the water reserve fund, but they can start tomorrow.
So,
But what is the homework?
Look, I ask you for,
Our goal is if we can shift the pipe and stay in the right of way and leave the old pipe in the ground, that's what we want to do, right?
before we go, just make sure you're legal, have the plans, they done the surveys, use those, and then once you know you're good.
Make sure we're in the right of way, is that it?
Yes.
Not
In the road, yeah, in the right of way. We want to shift it. We want to move the pipe so we don't have to touch the old pipe in the ground now.
which will save us costs.
Right.
So make sure we're in the right of way by looking at the plans. Is that the
Yes.
homework? Because
Yeah, and then check with PHA about this extra line, we just want to make sure we don't hit
which extra long?
the one.
Which one? Figure out what that is.
Yes, you can see what they count at.
Thank you, Mr. Sonninger.
No, thank you guys. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. And like I said, if you're around tomorrow, I'll get with Anthony and we plan on getting with you and try to look at the plans and.
That's fine.
Thank you. No, thank you guys. We appreciate it. Like I said, I just, I know it's an emergency, but we want to do it right and we want to do what you guys. Thank y'all.
Okay, the next item that we're in new business now, I know we've been kind of hopping around. This one should hopefully be pretty quick, and I actually think that having Tina here may be super helpful. It is the discussion and action of the addition of a downtown event line item in the budget.
Downtown event, okay. I mean, if I can get out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we went back to old
I
business.
have, you're
Gee.
on old business, you know.
She wanted to do hers, so she.
No, I didn't ask for anything. I didn't ask to do mine. I've been sitting there for 3.5 hours and I'm next. I
Oh,
moved the agenda around a lot, but I'm next on the agenda.
oh,
Am I not?
so I think.
Well, because we jumped back into new business, he was in new business and the VML was in old business.
Right, so we will go back to this. Oh, so now we're going to continue.
Okay, we'll just move to the VML. Okay,
So.
so we're gonna move to the discussion and action on the VML contract.
Okay, all right, so she has been here long. I'm sorry about that too.
Sorry, what?
I'm sorry you've had to stay, so we'll move to you now. I'm sorry you've had to be here so long, but we'll move to you now.
This is not my motion. I don't see your invoices and I don't bring the bills, so I'm not sure. I was here so I can talk to you all about this expense or what the work is, but as far as, this is not my memo or my report at all.
No, it's mine.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll have it. It'll be.
I mean, I'm here to answer questions as you need about the expenses that we spent so far, and if you have one over budget, how that happens, but I don't approve your invoices, you deal directly with VML. And I don't actually see your contracts whenever they get finalized with VML, that is dealt with them directly. So if you are getting the airplanes going over budget, you have to work that out with VML whenever that comes up. I'm only told of the parameters of the work I need to do. In this case, I was told to do the pre-audit work and to help the new treasurer and new town manager get ready to succeed in their functions. So that's the capacity I was working with. I didn't know there's a limit outside of, staying within those jobs. I have done that. I think I haven't had as much time to spend, with Francesca as I would like. Just because it's a tricky time of the year for the town manager, so we've been working on a lot of things in the budget and going through that as well. So I haven't been able to give her my full attention. I've also only been here for 2 months. And 2 of those were holiday weeks, of course, with Christmas and New Year's Eve. And so I'm not really sure why I'm here, because no one's talked to me about this other than it just coming up. Yes, yesterday or the day before that my line item in your budget was over budget. I think that's the audit line item, which should not be my line item anyway. That mine should be for professional consultants, just like you have in your utility budget. So I don't understand how that's being laid out, but this is all news to me. Honestly, this is the first time I've seen it.
Okay, I'll take it from the, I'll hit it. Okay, look, so thank you for saying, I'm sorry, you have to say so. All that's going on here is when we contracted with VML, I negotiated a limit because I thought there wasn't so much work with accruals, VAI, bank reconciliations, tax preparation, some training for the new treasurer. And it's turned out to go, I underestimated the cost. So it's not her fault at all. It's that the 10,000 limit was just set too low. And so the, the actual, the actual work she's done, particularly in January when the auditor was here, required more remote work and a lot more digging into VAI than we had anticipated. And that's really all that's happened. Everywhere I've been, there's been a consultant come in there into an organization to do end of year accruals and to reconcile accounts. And it's usually about 20,000. So this isn't unheard of. What's unusual is the accruals that go back into last year. They go back months into last year when folks left abruptly and didn't close out and reconcile accounts. So it's nothing on her. She's doing as fine a job as she can, but the amount of work was just underestimated. That's why you see the high invoice. Okay. So the recommendation is to approve that invoice. There will be, I think, heard about 40 more hours to complete the audit. The audit is so critical, as we talked about, for a number of reasons. For the budget adjustment, to understand our fund balance. You talked about a forensic audit, that they're going to look at that. The audit needs to be done, and I've directed BML that it just be focused on the audit now, primarily to get that done. Okay, but it has really, it's beyond. She's just doing the work. I negotiated the contract, so it was just set too low. I was overly optimistic.
Question?
Yeah.
Is, you're saying an additional 40 hours of work? Is that realistic? Do we need more time than that? That's what I'm asking.
If I mean, said, you also have to keep in mind that I can't work for your town 40 hours a week because I have other clients I go to. So that does account for some, of the time disparities. And it takes me 2 hours to get here and I drop. So I wouldn't be getting home at around midnight tonight. So it's just a try, very hard, obviously. And I was telling Stuart earlier, this is the only town that I have come to their council meetings for. I haven't done it for anyone else. Not their city, not their county, not their town council meetings, unless I was actually working for that. Yeah. And I've done come to this as the ML representative, but I really enjoyed working here and I enjoyed working with you all. And I'm not quite sure what happened today, this week. I don't understand. I feel a little bit, I don't know what to say. Kicked on, kicked in the back. And I don't understand what's happening. So
It's really, I set the contract amount too low. And it wasn't realistic. That's all. It's nothing. Please. Okay. Okay. All right.
maybe I'm just a little tired. Well,
It's okay. Yeah, it's been, the storm has put us all back on everyone, so we're all fine. So it had nothing to do with it. But anyway, that's the reason. But I think we just wrap up with the audit and get the audit done. Probably, what would you say, 80% of the work is done?
well, the pre-audit work is done. So
Yeah.
now the real audit work needs to be completed with putting the actual documents together with the auditors. We need to get all their journal entries to put in so that we can get some final balances on your books.
Yeah.
Which is also a big issue for your books for an issue. You can't close out last year, so we have those numbers.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little tricky. The software, VAI is a little bit, this is a whole other, discussion on a whole other time, but it's difficult. I would be happy to make recommendations, maybe some alternatives to say. At some point.
Yeah, so we appreciate you being here, but again, I think we just need to go ahead and bite the bullet and just get this done. We're almost at the finish line. We will need to do a budget amendment then to do the audit. As I've expressed, I have gone over to the county to find additional revenues. I calculate on the old audit, based on the old audit, I expect about $300,000 more than what was budgeted. Because they're using the old audit as the standard. So I don't think, I just recommend that we go ahead and just get this work completed. It's important.
How much are you asking for an amount or are you just,
The contract, let's take a look at the contract. It says, 20,000. Let me see if I can find it. It's on page 4. The letter of engagement addendum will limit the costs at the town's request to 20,000. If there's additional cost, we don't know exactly, it would be not to exceed 30,000 without prior approval from you. So I would,
So you're asking for an additional 20.
it's at 10, it would go to 20, but that just gets us squared up with the current invoice. There's going to be additional work, probably 40 hours. So it'll end up landing between 20 and 30,000.
so you're looking at a request of up to, say, up to 30,000?
Not to exceed 30, yes, ma'am. So it's just that it is what it is. We had a lot of work with VAI and account reconciliations and moving things forward. So no whitewashing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people forget that a lot of work was not done previously, that they're having to recreate because they're having to do the work that wasn't done in order to do what they're trying to get done. So I understand where the costs come from.
And also she's teaching Francesca how to do
Correct. On tax related things like W-2s, 1099. So
municipal things.
yeah, okay.
So, before I make a motion, what's fun?
This is
Is
it's
it,
a
is a neat
general-
one,
This is a general.
general fund. Okay. No, that was my only.
So the budget line item you're working off of for this, it is the audit
Right.
budget, so we'd have to definitely appropriate once we got the bill.
Correct.
Fisheries and all that.
But I would do that in the budget adjustment.
Ma'am, I appreciate what you done. Thank you so much for your help, but we was told $10,000, up to $10,000. I'd say we cap it off. We have the lady here that is on our payroll. We gotta pay the auditors. How much is that gonna cost us?
It's about 30,000.
Yeah, for the auditors to come in.
Correct.
We are a small town and we just spent 75,000. I mean, I don't know where all this money's coming from. I really don't. I'm sorry, but I do appreciate you, ma'am. Don't think that, don't. I appreciate your effort that you've done. I really thank you for what you've done to help us out. My vote would be no. But I'm just one vote.
My concern is we have to make sure we get through this process. We've had a large turnover of staff. And throughout that process, that has resulted in loss of staff that knew how to do functions for the audit. And so we have new staff that's learning. We have brought VML in to assist us with that. we haven't finished that process. And while I recognize that our original budget may not have been where it should have been, you know, we can spread the blame around for that, but that's not going to get us anywhere tonight. What we need to do is look forward and try and figure out how we can get through this process, learn from it, so that when we start budgeting and everything for the upcoming year, we know what we need to expect for any audit costs. We will be able to move forward from this, hopefully, and have, you know, staff that is trained better so that they can help with this audit process, so that we don't get as behind as we did because we had a changeover of staff. I think if we, well, for one thing, we're gonna have to appropriate what the bill is because part of the work has already been completed. So that to me, capping it at 10 is not gonna work regardless from that standpoint, because we have to pay for what's been done, which is already over 10 at this point. Now, I do still think we need to go ahead and potentially appropriate additional funds from that standpoint to get us through this complete process. I do think we can look at whether or not part of these funds should go towards training rather than towards audit, because in addition to helping us get through the audit, part of this process has been making sure that our staff is being trained on how to use the systems properly, how to input the journal entries and everything into it properly so that they have a good working system moving forward. So I think we can potentially look at some other line items that may, and I'm not saying we have necessarily any money in those line items, but I do think we need to appropriate the money correctly. And while I understand that, you know, they've been working on the audit, and Tina has been working with both the audit, but also with training with Francesca and with Stuart. I think we can potentially spread that out a little bit more than where it is, but I think we need to continue with the process and see it through. Because if we stop now, we've just blown ourselves up backwards by not completing it and moving and finishing the process. I recognize that there's a potential for, you know, it to go over budget, but hopefully this will be a training thing. That's not something that's going to have to be an every year occurrence. We with the turnover of staff, we kind of limited our options here.
I agree with what you just said. We're pulling ourselves out of the hole. We all knew this was kind of coming, to the extent, I guess we didn't really know as much. I guess my only little bit of heartburn here is no one notified us that we hit our limit. We had a contract. They knew the contract. They should at least notified us. I don't want to just kind of brush that aside and say, oh no, we'll give you $20,000 more. At least some acknowledgement written in an email or something saying, we apologize for not notifying you. I just want something that kind of says,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm with you.
I just want some acknowledgement.
The way the contract was worded was, we will not exceed 10,000 without prior notification. But I mean, is it productive? To your point, we've just got to get the audit done and the training done. And I think going forward, here's the answer. In the new budget, we need a line item called pre-audit consulting, an item in there. It should be much less going forward because we've had the training.
I just prefer, so like, if we look a year from now, having something written down of why it happened would be helpful. In my experience, if someone went over the budget on a rebuild on a machine,
Yeah,
I'll probably negotiate with them. I'm not trying to do that. I just want some real acknowledgement that we just need a response from them of what happened, why it happened.
okay.
Something written,
Yeah,
for record.
yeah, not from her, it's from.
No, from whoever's watching the bill.
Yeah.
On their
Yeah,
side.
again, it's really independent of her. This has happened at a higher level.
Yeah, but I think.
All right.
Good job. I'm just trying to get some acknowledgement from.
All right.
I move best to finish.
Okay, all right, so.
It just. We're spending a lot of money is concerned. Not just with her, with the snow removal, we just spent $15,000 to contractors. This water thing, last month, we had that, we're still gonna talk about the $12,000 some dollars for that book. Uh, We're, a lot of money's going out the door, just concerning me, and we've got to do this. That's no question. We've got to do this. Just all the money going out the door concerns me.
I agree. But I have looked at the budget, and in my opinion, many of the items were very much under budgeted. Uh, streets and sidewalks, one of the contractual line items when I first arrived was $8,000 for contractual services. And I got some quotes to fix the rail, and that went over the 8,000 in the first contract.
Yeah.
But I'm not blaming anybody. It's just we've got to move forward. We've got to fix things and move the town forward and put it on solid. Now, Miss Staples has said repeatedly that we're in a strong financial position, and that's worth its weight in gold because every manager goes to bed at night wondering, well, what is our true cash position? Like any business person every day. And so by having it go here with the understanding of that, that's contributed, at least in my perspective. And also, she's getting Francesca up. She understands where things are now, fund balances. I think it's been a success. It just comes at a cost. That's it.
I think we got wonderful training. We got good people. Yeah, like we just put out money for hiring new people for the police department. It's just a lot of money going out the door that we didn't think.
But I found you.
Yeah.
So is there any motion or additional discussion regarding just the VML contract?
My recommendation is we approve what they said. Let me get to exactly. It's letter of engagement, and then will limit costs at the town's request to 20,000 for total estimated cost of services, but not to exceed 30,000 without prior approval from the town manager. So there's some wiggle room. Okay, that's what the way it's been worded.
I think we need two different motions for two different things here. One, we'll need a motion to approve the line on the report out of the budget, the monthly bill list. And then we'll need a motion to move forward with the DML contract. So at least for right now, I'll look at the motion to approve the line item in the monthly bill list for the DML Vaco finance.
The 20 to 30 that you guys are talking about, is that including the bill that just came out? Or is it besides this bill?
There's two bills total, and we want to make sure no one was paid, it's this one. I know, because they're approved.
So,
the extras.
Just to confirm, based on the total that has been billed is approximately $19,000. And they're saying it may be an additional 9,000 to get to completion.
Wait, let me clarify. Hold on, let me clarify that. There's 1,109.60, 747,840. That's 8,555. So we were, the first two bills, we were 110,000. So that's why this caught us as a surprise. Then we got a bill for 11,989. That puts us at 20,578. Her proposal is to limit the costs, the town's request to 20,000 for total estimated cost of services requested by the town not to exceed 30. So we would pay this invoice, and then we have some flexibility not to exceed 30,000. That's how I'm reading it. Do you read that? Listen to it.
So I would just pay this bill and then you can figure out.
Here's that language. So that's the way I'm reading it. Pay the bill up to 20,000 and not to, then we have wiggle room up to 30,000.
Mayor, I think the confusion is that up to X amount on the bill, where I took it and I don't know about you guys, as the total amount is $10,000 to spend, not a bill, 2 months of bills, you know, one was 8,000, another was whatever thousand. I think that's where this confusion is. I don't know. I think we need a total amount. I'm
Well,
sorry.
that's what I was reading, is because in the paragraph, it says services to complete the engagement. So if you add those two up, you're at 20,578.
You could just have the motion, authorize town manager to pay bills not to exceed 30,000. That's the cleanest way.
So another 10,000 is all they're gonna need to complete the work?
That's what they estimated. Yeah, 40 more hours.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I don't think,
I want to know this for 1 month, it came up to 11. And we still have more to go with the audit.
that's why I'm clarifying.
And that's why I'm asking, is it very just like including this bill as well, or is it?
30 total or 30 additional?
The current bills total 20,570. What we got in here. So she's saying there's another, we could set the not to exceed to be another 10,000.
Okay, the total, the bill we have right now. Plus the other money is 20,570.
That's correct.
Yeah. And if we authorize $10,000, that would be 30,000.
Correct. That's what the question. To clean this up, you could,
I apologize. There's a potential of another bill being out.
That's my
Yeah,
point.
so
We're in February, so we're at the end of the month, we'll get another bill for her.
Have you talked to the VML?
yeah, and I said to estimate how much more work is involved, and they told me 40 hours at $9,000.
And they've told you the bill so far is 20,000.
We've received bills of 20,578. And I asked for an estimate of how much more, and they said 40 hours or $9,000. So that's where the not to exceed 30,000 came. Could just cap it at 30 or go higher if you want.
Well, they're saying that there's going to be a bill from February that we haven't received yet.
All I can say is the lady manager, Ms. Lapolito at GML, I asked her, you've gone over to 20,000, how much more do you anticipate? And she said 40 hours or 9,000 more, which puts us at about 30,000. So that's best I can do until the bills actually.
We just capped at $30,000.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
So Mike, to add on to that, if additional work is required, then they would just come back with another request.
Could do that because the work has to be done.
The work has to be done.
Yeah, there's no way around it. Has to be done. Did you have anything?
Do we know what date we've been billed through? Because I know we got a January bill, but that could have been through December 15th. That could have been through January 15th. I mean, so, and I know she's continued to work for us. And so there is some period of time that has been worked between when you spoke to them and the bill that we received. I don't know if it's clear in the estimate they gave you whether or not that was from the period you spoke, like from that day forward, or if that included the time period between that bill that we've received and work completed to the date when you spoke to VML. So
There could be a lingering bill, but all I can say is I said, I've got this bill, we're now at 20,000.
I
How much
understand
more?
what you said. I think it's just, it's not clear to me based on what you're saying and the understanding of the bills and not knowing the dates of those bills, whether or not there's additional monies so that I don't want to come back and have the same conversation again next month.
Sure. So what would you recommend?
You guys are gonna hate me. I'd like to go to 40,000 just so we don't have to come back to it, not to exceed 40,000.
Okay.
And hopefully we don't hit that and we're in there, we'll target with the 9 and we're good, but that would give us some additional ability to have some
That
flexibility
would,
there.
definitely would, yeah.
And I know we're 40,000 total.
What has already been paid.
So that would include all of the bills that we've received to date. The roughly $9,000 that was already paid previously for, or what is it? That would include the $1,100 bill, the $7,400 bill, the 11,981 bill,
Which gets
which
to
is 25. So it would be 19,432
correct. That was all. Yeah.
dollars remaining.
All right. So that's a good idea.
And appropriate that to the.
I think I would like to appropriate it from the general fund with the understanding that we need to look at the invoices to determine how that gets allocated between audit and training. I can turn that into a motion if you would like.
Love for you to.
All right, move to amend or to move to increase the total not to exceed of $40,000 on the VML contract for the help with completion of the audit and training of town staff to be appropriated from the general fund with allocation to be split between training and audit based upon breakdowns on invoice to be determined at a later date.
We have a second
Second.
discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Purcell,
Four.
Ms. Hart, or Ms. Rigby,
For.
Mr. Henry.
Four.
Mr. Crawford.
No,
Also gonna go to be approved line item on the monthly bill list of, BML Baker of $11,989.60.
Okay.
Actually,
Second. Any discussion?
All right, Ms. Hart. For the, your four. Ms. Rigby, for Mr. Henry.
It's the
It's for the line I
approving
the line item.
line item that we pulled out.
Mr. Crawford.
No.
Mr. Purcell.
four.
So I'm sorry, I had to run out for a second. So not to exceed 40,000 with, say that again?
Trying to delineate between training and by not doing the line item.
Okay, not to exceed 40,000. So everybody good? Okay.
Next item on the business is the budget, 26-27 fiscal year budget. We're not gonna add any new items. We're gonna mix the.
Everyone says no.
No,
All right, getting on 10 o'clock. Let me move to this. So all I want to do is encapsulate what we discussed at the strategy meeting, and then just carve a path forward for how the budget process will work. So we had the strategic setting meeting. It was right before the ice storm, the 26th. Talked about economic development, community development, organizational development, infrastructure improvements, facilities, and budget. Real quickly, I'll try to work through this quickly. Economic development, improve communication and coordinate with EDA, promote small town business diversity of retail shops, including grocery, clothing, and restaurants. Improve supporting infrastructure, logistical and aesthetics, lighting, parking, sidewalk, signage. Clarify the downtown definition, obtain a grant for a downtown master plan, coordination with the chamber, EDA Main Street, promote the downtown, develop the industrial park for modern technology uses to expand the tax base, improve traffic flow for ease of downtown shopping. Community development, plan to conduct more community events, a centralized downtown events gathering place, instruct or improve more parks and recreation places, infrastructure opportunities, uh, develop community-based partnership and collaborative. We're already starting to talk to the county and the chamber. Develop sidewalk connectivity, ensure adequate provision of water and sewer with LCWA, better code enforcement of derelict buildings, organizational development, compensation benefits study to exceed the market average to recruit and retain. Now, we talked about this with the police chief, but again, I lead a whole organization and I want to do the same for the whole organization. Once we get the audit done and a revenue forecast in, and I want to make sure that our folks are paid above the average, so we recruit and retain. So I want to get a study. Hopefully we can do a budget amendment and definitely in the budget, make sure that our pay is where it needs to be. Okay. So that everybody, public works and my administrative staff are all treated equally and fairly. Right now, we're doing what we have to do to support the chief. It's very important, but I need to equalize that across the organization, right? Improve training opportunities for staff and the council. You guys, I'd like for you guys to have a budget to go to train. I want to get better, see if there's a family health care option.
Stuart, may I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm sorry, just because I'm trying to be cognizant of time.
Yeah.
I know that they've probably already read.
Okay, well, we can move on.
What is just the actions or what your request is
Yeah.
moving forward?
Okay, you're right. So the budget process, I'm just laying this out. Department heads I've got a CIP form I'm going to send to everybody. It's on the next page. They can submit to me and I'll put this in a new CIP. I'm going to develop this capital improvement program over 1 to 10 years. And then we'll sit down and prioritize these things. I'll work on a revenue forecast with Francesca and the Staples. I want the operational budget to have input from department heads. Then we'll sit down and we'll go over all these capital things. Here's the form, which spells out the need going out. Well, right now I have 5 years. We'll develop a CIP. We'll talk about the projects. We'll adopt them. And then we'll just, at that point, when they're adopted, we all know what they are. We won't have to have a lot of committee meetings. We'll just do them. Okay. A lot of these projects have languished. We just need to get done. That's my process. Okay. So I'm just giving you an update. Thank you.
So no action required.
No, it's just informational about the process I'm laying out, how we'll follow it this year. Just need to get through the storm and caught up, and then we'll have a more structured budget discussion.
Once past it, moving on.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
We're gonna fix that transite line and keep on marching. Keep on marching. Okay. So thank you for cutting me short. I didn't want to go too long. It's getting late. What's the next thing?
Final item on old business is the discussion of the LCWA manual update.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, let me just say, I am accountable for the budget. And so any questions, they're on me. So I researched this. Let me lay out what happened. The bottom line is there was an agreement in 2023. Got a little handout. You can follow me. You want me to hand it out or just go?
Yes, go.
Okay, just go. Okay. So in 2023, the town and LCWA had an agreement to upgrade the facility standard manual. Everybody with me? So in 2023, there was this agreement. The former manager mentioned this in meeting minutes in February 2024 that she told the council about this agreement. They agreed to do a budget amendment to do this upgrade, and it was a 50-50 split, which would be $16,000 to the town. So the former manager sent an email to LCWA confirming that. However, I researched it. She didn't do the budget amendment, but I couldn't find it in the meeting minutes. But she did put it in the adopted budget, our share in 2024-25. It was in line item 502 in the sewer fund, 0455003345. So it's in the budget be to be expended for the share. But she has a clearing in a clear record of telling the council that we had agreed to this. So they put the money in the budget. So that just sat there, and then in December 2024, the check for 2005-48 was written. So this agreement was in place. We wrote a check. Then the money was put in the budget for this year in the same line item. And so we get this invoice. It was an ongoing system, and that's where the bill came to complete our 50-50 split. Now, so I met with Pam Bowman to confirm that this split was the arrangement. The treasurer did send you this information in an email. We didn't get any questions back. We just assumed no one had an issue, which is my fault. I take accountability for all checks issued here. So it's not on her, it's on me. And what I should have said, I should have intervened and said, well, let's bring this information back to you. But instead, the check was issued. So it's not her fault. I should have. I'm not familiar with this level of scrutiny in the bills. So I should have intervened and said, wait, and then let's bring it back. But there was an ongoing agreement with the water authority. And now I've invited Ms. Baumann, and I confirmed it with her by speaking to her personally. And so I've invited her to come to the Water Sewer Committee meeting March 12th to present the facility standard manual upgrade, to talk about it to the committee. And she can come to a regular meeting. It's really important because all this stuff we're doing in water and sewer has to be standardized to modern quality assurances for all of our connections. So we're gonna get our money's worth. I'm sorry for the miscommunication, but that's the story. That makes sense? March 10th. March 10th, I'm sorry. So she's invited to.
I'm lost, excuse me, I'm lost. You said, I mean, it didn't matter to me, but you said you would rather do this in closed session. Is this?
This is what I was gonna tell you.
Well, I've got a few problems. This number that you sent me is actually 502, not a zero in front of it. 455003345 to the RSTP. Now,
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong, shouldn't that be the raw sewage treatment plant instead of a book?
well,
and I also went back and searched the records, and I found where Miss Nelson mentioned it to the previous council, but I cannot find, and I've looked through all of them that's online, I cannot find where the council voted for to do this.
I mean, Mayor said it was in the fiscal year budget.
Well, here in the thing, it shows up as 23-24, it's not in there. But in 24-25, but the numbers don't add up. It's showing 15,000. Shows that we spent 25,4850. And when we was doing the budget, this is the budget that we worked on, that John and Sylvia was on the finance committee with Craig. When we was doing the budget, for some reason, and I didn't write it down, but I do have 10,000 wrote out from the side of it. There was something besides the 2 sewer pumps that we had to purchase, help pay for down at the sewer plant. And for some reason, I'm thinking this is it. I don't find the book nowhere. And I'm sorry. I mean, and everybody makes mistakes, Mr. Trail, don't get me wrong, but I am disappointed. I figured a man with your caliber, your education, your experience would understand things, and I'm very disappointed about that.
So I will say that that number, that 2548, at least from what I recall in the email from CHA. Is that Seniors Helping?
No, LCW.
LCWA?
Yeah.
Because they paid two separate invoices that totaled about 2,500, so. And then they knew that there was more coming.
So
So
all I'm asking is if somebody can show me, because I've looked. I went through and looked. The ones that's online, I understand they might be a box around here somewhere with minutes in it, I don't know. But if somebody can just show me where the council approved, I cannot find it, not this council.
if it was in this
Previous.
budget, that's what I think that line item is supposed to be.
Yeah, but it's not. This line item is RSTP, raw sewage treatment plant. And it says plant improvements. There was something that I can, maybe I've got it written down. There's something, because I brought it out and we paid like 5,000 and there's 10,000 and I got wrote down. Like I said, this is the budget that we worked off of, my side notes. I mean, the only thing I'm curious about, I don't, I don't know. I'm lost in this matter.
It isn't, I'm sorry, it is. I just had the same journey as you. I went to try to find the meeting minutes where they actually approved and they did.
Here's what I think happened. I think what we did is we knew it was coming. It was put in the 24-25 budget for that year. My understanding is we didn't get all of the invoices in the 24-25 year. For the 25-26 budget, we had lost the staff at that point. I don't think we re-picked up the remainder of those invoices that would be needed for that full 16,000 in this year's budget, because we didn't necessarily realize that they hadn't all been paid. So I think we had originally put 16,000 in the 24-25 budget for this manual, but not all of the costs came in that year. And we didn't carry forward the remainder of those costs into our next budget cycle.
But we
That's
looked
what
at,
I think happened.
okay, but we looked at the original invoice on 12/31/2024. And we used the same line item that they used then, assuming that that's where they put the money.
I understand that. What I'm saying is I think we never actually pushed it forward.
But it was budgeted for a previous
It was
year.
budgeted for the previous year. And it was never utilized during that.
And so the budget amendment that she mentions in a meeting minutes, she said she was going to do a budget amendment. I don't think ever happened.
No, because I think that it was just budgeted into the
Budgeted into the
year, because no
fiscal year.
invoices had been received.
Yeah, but the
Budget.
Correct. There was no council approval needed for the 16,000 in the fiscal year
yeah,
22-23, because it wasn't approved until 23-24.
Yeah.
Or no, 24-25.
Yeah.
24, yeah, so it wasn't in the 23-24.
The question is, doesn't seem like it was ever voted on for us to use that book.
I'm trying to find the vote. The notes from that point are very vague, and I've spent all morning trying to track them down myself.
What I've seen, there's nothing with the council.
All
Previous council.
that's right. All I have is the
And Miss Nelson didn't do nothing. No, she mentioned it to the council. I'm not blaming Miss Nelson. No, it's in there. She mentioned it to the council.
I believe that they've been using the facilities at least, since 2008? They've been.
There's two books. There's one. I found another book, 2011.
that's the old version. That's why they needed the update, because it's going on 20 years old.
So we just got the invoice for the update, right? For So has anybody adopted the new update?
What I'm saying.
Yeah, we ain't done it.
But has the water authority done it if we're just getting the invoices?
They have a draft that they're going through.
No update, we haven't approved the update of the book itself because we haven't seen it to approve it yet, because it's just being completed
Anything on?
back in 2011,
No, so,
2012, I mean,
I've
I don't know.
I've got an electronic copy of the preliminary draft. She said they're finalizing some review of it.
There's gonna be another bill coming also. For $1,600 and some dollars, the final bill for that.
1,600.
That's what she said in the meeting.
Okay, so that should conclude it, and then we'll have the updated draft. But, I'm trying to piece a puzzle together. I'm going back through the notes. I spent 5 hours trying to find out the trail. All I have to go on is that email from Ms. Nelson confirming that she had told council about the 16,000.
Yeah, I read it. I have no doubt that she did not do this. She does.
And also I asked Ms. Bauman directly, is this the agreement? And she said yes, so.
Look, I think Miss Nelson done exactly what Miss Nelson said she done in that thing, but somewhere the ball gets dropped. Can't
So-
find it. Show me in the budget. Like says book. This is raw sewage.
I don't have that, but I'm trying to take us forward. And what I can say is the process. Well, let
Can
me
I
just
just-
finish this one thought. So the process going forward is when we get the bill pay to you early, please call me in advance about any questions, and I'll try to get answers much sooner than the meeting, number one. And then number two, if you pull out bill for first movement, then we won't go forward with it until it's approved at the next meeting. You get answers, okay? So it's a learning process for me.
I was hoping you know that before you learn.
Sometimes,
I'm not better than to drive 75 mile an hour and 55 on the zone.
don't let this 64-year-old body fool you into thinking I have all the answers. I still make mistakes, but I'll learn the curve on the learning curve, the process. Please call me in advance when you get the agenda. We'll go over it, and I'll bring in Miss Francesca. And then if you pull bills out, I really thought it was just informational, not approval. Then I'll wait until you get final approval. Okay? Okay.
All right, so we need to vote and approve that. Before we vote it out, we're gonna go ahead and party. Have we done that? Yeah,
About that. You think the only thing you pulled out was the 11,000.
yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was the video, man.
I knew that was the part. There's no vote on what you're talking about.
Yeah, what we're talking about now is we base service bills.
They
They done paid it, but the council has not approved for it to be paid.
did with the last meeting,
That's a bad donut.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're contractual obligated to cover 50% of the application, here, 50% the town is 50% over plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it could be.
I listen to the water. Not the sewer. You report the water.
I think that they've approved it last year. This is the bill last year.
We didn't vote, we voted it out. We pulled that and Roger caught the difference. We pulled it out. Jeff said, pull it out.
You can vote on it if you want.
I took it.
I mean, I know she paid it, that's fine, we know.
The way I understood it, when you guys took it out was until I sent you guys forward information because we didn't know what it was on.
According to,
And once I
according
sent
to
it,
state law, when something gets pulled out, it has to be voted on.
yeah, and so actually, yeah,
The trail should know that.
And then it was, the minutes say motion to conditionally approve with the understanding that the treasurer will review a bill from the water authority, and then those minutes were approved, so that you reviewed it, so and it was.
So she wants to approve it now.
Do we need a motion to go home?
No.
Yeah.
Why don't you vote to approve it now or just say this?
We
We'll
need
make
to,
a motion to approve it.
Yeah. That.
I'll make a motion to approve. Book. Water sewer, LCWA, manual. Cost.
We have a second? Second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Hart. Four. Ms. Rissy. Four. Mr. Henry.
Four.
Mr. Crawford.
Four.
Mr. Purcell.
Very good.
We're gonna mix what was left of new business because it's after 10 p.m. Any comments or discussion from members of council?
Madam Mayor, do you want that continue to next month's agenda?
Yes, I would
Yeah.
love that. Are we good to move forward with a motion to adjourn and we'll?
Before we do that, can I say something? My job has really stacked a lot of stuff on top of me. And, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. I would like to surrender my position as the chair on the legal counsel to Ms. Hart because I'm not going to be able to handle it. I'm working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, sometimes 15 hours a day. And I do get a day off every once in a while, but not too often.
The beauty with the new bylaws adopted is there are less committees and there are slight changes in who are the committees. I think Stephanie still has the list from last month.
And then we can do a reappointment of that based on the new committees after the bylaws were approved at next meeting.
Sure.
Well, Ms. Hart was the second and I was the chair. I just figured she want the chair. I just don't have time. I'm sorry.
So as of from this month, next month, these will be the same.
Yes. Is that? So from this month to next month, the committees will be the same and the next month will just clarify. You've got it from last month. They were both on the same.
Sure.
And it's okay to push reports from staff, personnel committee to,
Reports to continue next month, and I mean, we submit written reports to you guys.
yeah, are you guys good with that? With the reports as they are?
Personally, I'm good with reports as presented, written without any additional need for review.
We have a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn. A second.
All in favor?
We have to.